Neighbors would be a nice play
Neighbors
for you.
there, and then in the second round they can grab an offensive lineman and a defensive player.
I'd rather grab the offensive lineman in the first round if one of those two top guys is available. There's another guy who's from Nebraska or something, and he's like even higher than Walt. His name is a little tricky to pronounce, but I would, I'm hoping.
It depends on what they think about Neal and what's going on there. That's the first round pick that they invested in, and if they feel as if there's some room, then switch it up. I don't know. Get that. The Giants haven't had a 1,000-yard receiver since 2018.
You have to say on the microphone more and be louder because you broke up there.
You want me to say that again?
No, John couldn't hear half of what you said. The Giants haven't
had a 1,000+ yard receiver since the 2018 season.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I think that they need that guy. I'm not against the Jalen Hyatt pick. I just think that he's a positional player, which is a deep threat. The guy can hit speed very fast, and they didn't have a time for most plays to progress to that. They had 10 plays of over 25 yards or more, and he was 5 of them.
Yeah.
So
their offense stunk. And their quarterback stunk.
Yeah. So I don't know there, but I would like to at least you have it. Hey, listen, the receiver comes. He's elite. They say this. His 2023 season was pretty elite. Malik Neighbors.
Yeah, he was good. I mean, he's among.
I'd rather Neighbors.
Neighbors than what?
I'd rather Neighbors than Adunze.
Adunze? I don't know. I think they're both pretty good. Adunze is a little bit bigger.
What is he?
But yeah, let's get started off. Hello and welcome to the Always Sunday Football Podcast. This is the Conference Championship edition. I'm Dave. I'm joined as I am every week by Anthony. How you doing, pal?
Doing fine. How are you?
You'd be better if you were closer to the microphone.
I know.
You're going to have to get used to that and be better with it. John, how are you?
Doing great. Doing great. Miss you guys already.
Yeah.
Aww.
Same here, man. There's an empty seat here with some paper towels on it, and we're making believe that that's you.
Paper Towel Johnny.
That's right. That's what we used to call him, TPJ. Or PTJ.
Yeah, you flipped that shit.
Sorry. It's a different kind of paper towel.
Oh my God. Brawny, it's Johnny.
Yeah, there you go. So we had some pretty awesome divisional games. We had some pretty interesting outcomes, and we have some very cool AFC and NFC championship game matchups. So what we're going to do, as we've been doing for the playoffs, is we're going to go game by game. We're going to give up our picks on the spreads and the totals. And then we're going to talk about the fantasy relevant players as things start to boil down and there's not as many teams to choose from. And in some cases, depending on the game you're playing, certain players have been burned and you can't play them anymore. So you got to piece your lineup together in different ways.
Yeah. And you might have already used a certain player who started in the first week of the playoffs twice.
I literally just said that. I was saying it as I was looking in your face, and you just repeated what I said.
I think you've been burned, like they're not there anymore. Sorry,
you're burned.
Like
you burned.
Sorry.
You burned him.
It's not here.
I literally
look at me.
Right in his face.
Look at me. I'm looking you in my
face.
face. I am burned right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can see that.
All right.
Johnny, before we go any further, placed 3 bets last weekend. Okay. Upton placed legally. He put $10 on the.
Wasn't it money line on somebody?
Well, it was one money line. It was what were the games that
and it was the over
you bet on? It was the Sunday games, which was.
It was the Saturday games too.
Wasn't it the Ravens over?
No, it was Saturday games. I think you didn't. I think you didn't make any bets for them. I think you only made bets for the Sunday games because it was the day you were driving, right?
Did he make Saturday bets and win and then put it back into Sunday?
No, it wasn't the Saturday bets that he won. He had one money previous to that.
Oh,
and it wasn't the Saturday bets, but then he realized he had the money in the bank.
So
So he called me while you were driving Sunday, right? You drove Sunday.
Yes.
Yes. So you made the bets on Sunday. I know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
I just can't remember what side, because you bet who played on Sunday.
I bet
it was the
I
Chiefs
bet
and
the
the Bills.
Buccaneers and Lions on the over.
over, and he hit. Okay, that's what it was. Lions over. It was the Chiefs money line, and it was Mike Evans over in receiving yards.
Yes.
And there was a total of $23. He put 10 on the over, 10 on the money line, and 3 on Mike Evans. Hit them all, and now has $45 to play with.
Should have fucking parlayed him.
If he chooses to do that in the next round or whatever case may be. But I just wanted to throw that out there. Johnny went 3 for 3. It wasn't parlay. No, if you had parlayed him, great. But that's actually like John actually did a smart way of betting and actually won. So we should celebrate that and not be like, oh, we should have parlayed it.
Well,
no,
I have a problem.
Yeah, I know. And that's what I'm trying to. We're doing therapy right now.
It doesn't work.
It does work. He won.
No. Therapy.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see. I guess it remains to be seen.
It remains to be seen.
You remain to be
so
seen.
Yeah, and John, have you decided whether you're going to collect your winnings or whether you're going to try to let some of them ride or what? What are you going to do? Do you know yet?
I think I'm gonna collect.
Yes.
I think I'm gonna collect this week. And I'll bet back in my home state, and I'll let you guys know what my takes are this week. So I'll we'll talk
obviously
about that.
we're doing the show. I would hope to hear your takes, or otherwise you're gonna be pretty quiet
Yeah.
during this episode. Okay, so very good. So what I'll do is I'll send you the 45, whenever on however whether you want it on Zelle or Venmo. We'll talk about that later. Okay.
Yeah.
Sunday, the 28th, we got the Chiefs and the Ravens, the matchup that some people wanted and that some of us on this show here expected, namely John. The Chiefs, are at home. They're 3.5 point favorites at home. So you get that 3 points for being the home team plus that little extra half a point for being the Ravens. And it's a 44.5 point over. John, we'll start with you. I know that you made your call of who you think is coming out of the AFC. Where do you stand right now?
Man, it just breaks my heart to say this.
Don't break my heart.
Chiefs money line, and I'm gonna go with the over in this game.
John, you take that fucking 45 and you place that bet.
Well, I mean, I would at least place some of it, like take 5, but he's going to do it in his own home state, he said. So at least he'll be doing that. But we'll find out what the actual bets are, the official bets. Maybe later in the week we'll text each other. Or what we should do. Did you guys see I set up a Twitter account? It's
Yes.
Always Sunday at Always Sunday FF on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. So if you tweet at us at Always Sunday FF, we'll see it there. But what we can do is, maybe get on Twitter later in the week and post our picks that we actually put our bets on. We wait later in the week before we actually put our money down a lot of the time.
Look at that, right?
Can I put money line real quick? For
Moneyline?
right now as it stands? Yeah, as it stands for like in Florida, it's actually plus 165 instead of plus 154.
Oh, well, if you're going to make the bet right now, go for it. Like, I'll tell you what to do with your life. But I'm just saying.
No. I'm just saying, like, it's crazy how like the betting is it's slightly different.
Yeah, and Anthony and I were talking about it before we got on the show, how you could open up FanDuel Sportsbook and DraftKings Sportsbook, and the lines might be different, the numbers might be different on certain games and stuff like that. So sometimes you'll get, if you really peruse the lines, certainly on a bunch of books, you'll get different lines, find better prices if you're into that sort of thing. So yeah, good luck on that Kansas City money line plus 165. We got one plus 154 here on DraftKings, so you got a nice little bit of juice there. Anthony, what do you think on this game?
Ravens laying the points and the over. Lamar's just too good.
Okay.
I mean, listen, Mahomes is I'm not saying anything.
Counterpoint
Is super good too. I just think it's a man on a mission.
Sure.
And
yeah.
I think
it's a team on a mission.
Agreed. And like they're all playing phenomenal. And Patrick Mahomes already tasted it, right? And I think that the Lamar just wants it more. And I think that that's what's going to come out. It's not going to be like I'm not saying they're going to wipe the floor with them by any means, but I see them winning. They can win by at most of a touchdown, depending on how the game lays out. If it's 4 points or if it's 5, 7. But
so you're laying in the Ravens,
yeah,
and you're taking the under. You said
the over.
The over. Okay. I will also take the over 44.5. I think these teams are both strong enough on offense. Kansas City's defense is very, very good. The only defense in the NFL, and probably the only and certainly the only defense in the playoffs that's playing right now than the Kansas City Chiefs. The Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens just elite. They might be the best defense in the NFL. This might. You know what? I will also take the Ravens and lay the points. No, 3.5. I'll take the Chiefs plus 3.5 because they could still lose by a field goal and cover, right?
Yep.
Chiefs 3.5. That's what I'm gonna do because I think this is Lamar's year. I just think this is Lamar's year. I could be wrong, but I could see this being a Justin Tucker at the end of the game, field goal to win it type situation.
Yeah, 67-yarder.
Something like that, right? So give me the Chiefs plus 3.5. And I'll take the over in this one. And wait, where did my phone go? Danny's picks. Danny sent his picks in. Couldn't be here he might sign on later in the show, but for now, he's taking Baltimore minus 3.5 and the over. So he's with you.
Me.
Okay. Interesting.
God, I really hope you guys are all right. It would be great. Just
you're rooting in your heart. Your heart says Lamar. Your head says Mahomes. I get it.
Okay.
Right? I mean, is that not a good way to say it, John?
Yeah, it's just terrible to be this way.
John, why are you like this? Okay, so go ahead.
I have
player props.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the players first, and then you can bring the props
sorry.
up. Okay, so here's where we'll go, but keep it close. So let's talk players. Johnny, you got your Patrick Mahomes. You got your Travis Kelce, you got your Rashee Rice, and you got your Isaiah Pacheco on the Chiefs side. Who of those 4 players, if I told you can only play one Chief in a playoff game, who are you playing this week?
I'm going to go with Travis Kelce.
Anthony?
I mean, the guy scores touchdowns. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, he was in playoff mode last week, that's for sure. Anthony?
Rashee Rice.
Yeah, you're a big Rice guy.
I am in that. No, I'm just kidding. No, I just feel that the Ravens are going to focus in on Kelce more throughout the game, and Rice will just have a little more opportunity there this game.
For that reason, or for a different, slightly different reason, I guess I'm going to say Pacheco is interesting to me in this game, just to sort of spice it up and give a different take. Because I feel like if the Chiefs are in this game, it's going to be a little bit of a slugfest, lower scoring,
control the clock,
grind it out on defense, and play good defense and run the ball well against the Ravens, which isn't easy to do. But I don't see the Chiefs passing all over the yard. I mean, I could see either one of Travis Kelce or Rashee Rice having a great game, or maybe both of them having fine games. But I don't think they're going to be throwing the ball over the yard because I don't see like the MVSs of the world stepping up in this game against this Ravens defense. Fine last week, MVS literally had the 2 catches of his life, but I just don't know about that this week. But I do think that the Chiefs could find some success, pounding it with Pacheco.
Bobby,
and like you grinding it out, quicking the game up. Go ahead, John.
Bobby posted something in the chat. He said, "I like Pacheco. Mahomes plays better when the RB is involved in the offense." I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, especially this year. That's the way that they've won games this year. They have run the ball. They've played really good defense. They've controlled it. Like Mahomes wasn't putting up gaudy fantasy points. They weren't scoring like a lot of actual NFL points a lot in the season. But come playoff time, I mean, we saw what they did last week. You know,
Absolutely.
they beat the hell out of the Bills. I mean, the Bills played well also. I mean, not that the Bills didn't score their points, but Kansas City was Kansas City last week. I think we saw the Chiefs finally show up. And that's scary for this for people who have Lamar in their hearts like Johnny does. On the Ravens side, you have your Lamar. Okay, there's the running back Edwards, Justice Hill catching a lot of passes.
Oh, don't forget Dalvin Cook.
Yeah. Zay Flowers. Okay, you got your Bateman, OBJs of the world, and then you got your 2 tight ends that are interesting, likely, and Mark Andrews expected to play in this one. John, if you can only play one Raven, who are you playing?
I'm picking Lamar. That's easy.
Fair enough. What if I told you can't pick Lamar because you already played him twice?
If that is the case,
hypothetically,
I'm going to go with Mark Andrews.
Interesting.
I'm going to be honest with you. I really think that, if the Ravens are going to pull this one out, they need a big performance from Mark Andrews to beat the Kansas City defense. I think Zay Flowers and OBJ are, they're going to have their hands full. The Ravens secondary is really, really good. I think that they need to open up that middle of the field, and Mark Andrews needs to beat those linebackers up the middle and keep the chains moving, and Lamar do what Lamar does. But somebody else needs to step up and get that offense going. I'm going to go with Mark Andrews.
How about you? What's your first preferred Baltimore Raven?
Well, normally it would be him, but I'm a little. I mean, how ready is he? How back to full health? Is
Who?
he? Mark
Andrews?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
just coming in cold.
Coming in.
Go ahead.
Sorry. It's been quite some time since he hasn't played. Just that first game back, getting the pads back on, getting some hits. I'm a little nervous there, so I would go, in my opinion, of a little bit of a safer play. It would be like your Zay Flowers. I'm still, even though last week wasn't a very great performance by BJ, I'm still not counting him out. Like, I expect him.
He was barely on the field.
I know.
They played a lot of 2 tight end sets.
Right.
And tight end and a fullback. Played a lot of 12s and 21s for those of you who like that.
But this is a veteran receiver. I mean, if there's a possibility, I feel like he's, when he's out there, he can catch that slant route. Give him that one slant. I feel like this is a game where he's going to need that. They're going to need that big play.
Yeah.
And that's his big play, is like the slant out over in the middle.
I like favorite receivers, whoever L'Jarius Sneed is not lined up against. L'Jarius Sneed has been like an all-pro shutdown corner this year.
He's going to maybe be on Flowers. So
let's also know William Gay, I believe, is going to be out this game.
Is he out? Do we know that?
I'm like, that's a big if. That's why I picked Andrews. That was somebody.
That hurts them, right? Because he's a linebacker, right, or safety?
Yeah, he's the one that does the spy on the quarterback and things of that sort.
Yep. So yeah, I mean that's a big thing. So now, Anthony, what are your player props? What are your interesting player props here?
So on DFS, I like Lamar. Lamar's rushing is 64.5. So I'm going with the over there.
You meant on DK.
Sorry, yes.
So you said, what was the line?
64.5 rushing yards for Lamar. So I'm taking the over.
64.5. Over? That makes sense. Like that. John, what do you think of that prop?
I'm fine with that.
Go ahead.
Fine with.
I have OBJ.
Go ahead.
20.5 receiving.
Oh man, that makes me nervous. I would take the under.
I'll take the under on that one. I'm taking the under with that one. OBJ is washed up. Dude.
He's gonna have 2 catches this game and have over that yard.
He might need more than 2 catches to get 20 yards, but it's just the thing is he how many targets did he even have last week? He was not involved in the game at all. Like really, nobody was a bigger OBJ fan coming into these playoffs than me. He was not even in the game. I think he had 1 catch in the game.
We watched it together.
Yeah, and we talked about it during the game. Like OBJ is not even on the field.
Maybe he had poop.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Diarrhea.
I don't know what's going on.
Diarrheas.
Anyway,
they were saving him for this game.
I don't know. I don't like the OBJ will not take the under on that.
I think OBJ is at the tail end of his career without a doubt. He's had lots of injuries. He's not as fast as he once was.
Huge payday from them, and he's going to be like, all right. You know what I mean?
Like,
15
to be honest with you, I thought that OBJ would be a little bit more of a contributor of being like, hey, I'm a little bit older of a receiver. I'll, be able to get open and catch the ball and not be able to, be as fast as I once was. But like,
I bet he's been a great guy to have in the locker room for the Zay Flowerses and Rashad Bateman's of the world. I bet you he's been great for their development, but he hasn't really been able to contribute on the field. What's your third part of
Patrick Mahomes rushing yard 26.5.
Ooh, interesting. And you're going over on that one too.
Yeah.
I'll go over on that one as well.
26.5. I would go the over on that one. So if I was you,
for over 50 last week.
If I was you, I would leave that second one out of the big parlay. That'll kill you. That one will kill you. The OBJ, leave that one out.
I'm just doing 3 for this game.
I'm just saying, but you also said you do a 6-legger with all 6 of them. I say right now you're looking at a 5-legger.
How about you guys? If you guys both agree on the opposite, I take it off. And you both agreed on the opposite, it will come off from my actual parlay.
That's what I'm saying.
Yep, agreed. Done.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I just like to have 3 for the game that I like. I will still snapshot this so that I could remember when the Ravens game and when
OBJ goes for 1 for 26.
Yeah, well, no,
and is never seen again.
He's going ham. He's getting a touchdown this game.
Okay.
I have a Lamar stat real quick on that I'll make a bet on. Over and under, does Lamar Jackson throw over 208.5 yards?
208.5.
Yeah, 208.5. I'll take the over on that one.
I'll take the under.
Under.
Really? You think that he throws under
200 yards? Yeah, he did last week.
He's gonna rush for 100 again, over 100, and he's gonna throw for like $160, $170.
I don't know.
Man. I think this game he's got
like 100, 180 and 2 touchdowns.
He's gonna have to. This Kansas City defense, he's gonna have to use his arm to win. Like this game, he's gonna need to use his arm.
Ooh, wait. For the record, real quick, Mahomes last week rushed for 19 yards. Six rushes for 19 yards.
I think he needs to do a little more with his legs against this Ravens defense.
Yeah, and then stand by here because we have OBJ 1 for 12 last week.
Yeah, 1 catch, and that was it.
Not this week.
We'll have to have catches like that this week, and it won't even be enough. 20 yards, right? Not 26.
According to Robert Johnson, OBJ is trash.
Yeah, I see that. Bobby J not pulling any punches with his OBJ.
It's okay. Listen, wait for
assessment.
We'll see this weekend. When you see OB zone doing some sort of dance.
Anthony, at the end of the day, he might be holding up a Super Bowl trophy again.
Yeah, and then be out. He just got 15 mil from these people, maybe a little more with what, depending on the contract. I know.
If I was him and I won a Super Bowl this year, I would for sure retire.
Oh my God, yeah,
for sure,
absolutely,
yeah.
He's a talent that should have won a long time ago, and I'm glad he won in LA. This will be a great Super Bowl victory for him as well.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. Ready for the next game?
Yep.
Detroit Lions. Okay, so Anthony, we picked with
Shut up, Bobby.
So you think the Ravens are going to win this game? You say funny how Giant fans still think OBJ. Well, look, OBJ had a beautiful 2-season run with the Giants, and since then, there really hasn't been much for the Giant fans to cheer about. So that was their last glory days. It's like a Jets fan talking about the Rex Ryan years, like with those 2 AFC championships.
He had a great
that's the
year.
last time a Jets fan. Right, he did. He had one of the all-time rookie years.
He nobody had a better 12 games than
he also did. Injuries. He's one of those guys where you can look at him and be like, oh, injuries derailed his career. What he could have been if he never got injured. He's one of those guys because he did give you enough where he's like he was elite. He was elite for a very brief period of time, but he was elite. top 2 or 3 receiver in the league for like 2 years. Then he just got banged up. He tore, too many ligaments and other bullshit, and that's what happens. But he is an all-time great Giant, and I don't think any like this era of Giant fans definitely looks fondly on OBJ. Lions 49ers NFC Championship game. The Niners are at home, 7-point favorites. I think it opened at 6 or 6.5, and it's been bet to 7.
Ooh,
51-point over under.
wow.
Johnny.
I'm gonna go with Detroit with the points, and let me get the over in this game.
Ooh,
Anthony?
Look up Danny Max. I'm actually going to agree. I would love. I'm sure everybody would love to see the Lions win, go to the Super Bowl, and have a chance at it.
Yeah, that's the heart pick. The heart pick is Ravens Lions in the Super Bowl. That's everybody's heart pick.
Right. I just don't see them beating the Niners. But I mean, Debo might this week.
That's looking pretty sketchy at this point. He hasn't practiced today. Wednesday, he didn't practice.
So I mean, unless they're just really holding out, waiting, and giving him rest.
Well, that's definitely what they're doing. But will he be ready?
Right.
And if the thing is, I think that even if he's not ready or if he's limited, they'll at least be more prepared for it this week than they were for it last week. It looked like last week they were like, oh shit, we have to still run our Debo plays, and they ran them like they handed off to Jawan Jennings at one point out of the backfield. It was like the most preposterous thing I've ever seen. It's like, you know what? Debo's obviously, and I think it was Greg Olson who was on the call. He's like, all week long, Debo took that handoff in practice, and now it's Jawan Jennings. Like, maybe don't run that play. Maybe just don't run the play.
Maybe just feed it to McCaffrey and
like
try to Kittle.
Try to run another McCaffrey play instead.
Right. You have a bunch of elite positional players.
So I'm hoping that this week going into it, if he knows that he's going to have a limited or not even available Debo, that he game plans accordingly.
Right.
That's the thing that you kind of have to assume rational coaching, which is a scary prospect a lot of the time. So your pick was Lions with the points and the over.
Yes.
Danny Mac also has Lions with the points and the over. And because it's 7 points, I will take the Lions with the points and the over also.
I think both of these teams are going to score. You can get into the 30s.
Yeah, both the secondaries are not that great, especially the Lions.
Yep. I can see both teams putting up points. That's for sure. Anybody have interest in the Lions money line in this one at
what's the number?
Plus 260? That's a big plus. Big plus.
I would because there's so much art involved in it, right? And there's like that play. I'll throw a
little sprinkle
unit.
Yeah, drop a unit.
It's $5 on 250.
I will definitely throw a money line.
$25 payout. No.
Look, if the Packers could put it on to the 49ers, just imagine what the Lions are going to do to the 49ers. It would not shock me if the Lions got to the Super Bowl.
$5 plus 260 gives you 18, pays out 18. So you profit $13. That's not bad.
That's not bad for a possibility. You can't sit here and say there's
10 pays 36. Now we're talking. Double. Yep, see? Sprinkle. Couple units.
You can't sit here and say, like, we all think the Niners go, but you can't sit here that there's not a percentage or a chance that the Lions could fucking pull this off for sure. So I would sprinkle something on that for sure.
I might sprinkle something on it if I didn't have insider information, which I do. And I'm just going to share it with everybody who's watching right now. I do have inside information on both of these games, actually. Would it interest you to know that Luis is picking the Chiefs and the Lions to win? That anyway. Because for me, I just go opposite that. Ravens, Niners. Easy money.
So he's basically money lining both games.
Well, he doesn't understand the concept. He would never. But he thinks those two teams, that would be what he's doing. He's money line parlaying the Chiefs and the Lions. Yes. Which pays out nice. I'm sure. but you're betting on both of the underdogs to win outright in that scenario. But that's not really the point that I'm making.
Just go opposite what he does.
That's the question. Does just the mere fact that Luis is picking the Lions?
I think it just ensures the Super Bowl outcome. Like who's going to make it Super Bowl? Oh my God! And then you know what? Next week we say if the
Ravens and the Niners make it into the Super Bowl, there is a 0.0% chance that Luis will be picking the Ravens. 0.00.
That's fair.
I was hoping that he watched the show.
Yeah, I don't know. It's probably a little salty about the fact that I called him out. The thing is, this isn't even. It's not even a new. It's not even a new argument. John's breathing heavy now.
No, I was like, dude, we're
not even a new argument in the NFL. The only explanation for why anyone could try to claim that Lamar Jackson is not a quarterback is and everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. It's just a known fact. Like at this point, he's about to win his second MVP. Everybody knows that the only knock that you could have against Lamar Jackson not being a good quarterback is his race. That's it. So he could be salty that I called him out if he wants to. That's not my fault because there's no other explanation. There's no other logical explanation for why he's so against Lamar Jackson being a good quarterback. Right or wrong?
I mean, I don't know.
You guys speak into
I
the
mean,
microphone. Go ahead.
From Bobby said that everything Chuckle Nuts says is wrong here. All dumber for listening to him talk anything NFL. Oh, Bobby.
That's true. He couldn't be more wrong.
He loves talking about Bobby, by the way. That is his. Bobby is.
Anything.
Luis loves Bobby.
He does. There's definitely a love affair going on there. Detroit Lions. Any interest in playing Jared Goff in this matchup here? Or are you guys like rolling with Lamar?
Yeah, if I had to choose a quarterback in this matchup,
would you rather, if you had to play either Purdy or Goff, who would you play?
Purdy.
Johnny?
I'm gonna go with Goff. I actually think Goff is gonna be one of the higher. I think he's the play out of all four teams.
That would be, I'll tell you this, statistically, Goff playing away from home in outdoor stadiums is actually not good. It's actually a bad bet to say that Goff would be the top performer here. So that's certainly a hot take.
I mean, you could see him having to throw a lot because of the situation.
Sure. That makes a lot of sense, that both of these teams are going to need to score points and want to score points. They're going to keep their foot on the gas pedal. I don't know who I would play. I guess it would come. You know what? I probably would say Purdy. I'd probably play Purdy over Goff. Just because he has Ayuk, he has Kittle, he has Christian McCaffrey. He's at home. He's 7-point favorites. That's not, by mistake. I would play Purdy in that matchup,
right.
I guess.
And DraftKings has the over under yardage for Purdy 276.5 and Goff is 258.5.
Bobby J picks Purdy also. What was the number?
For Purdy, it's 276.5.
Yep.
And for Goff, it's 258.5.
So Purdy's projected to have about 20 more yards. Okay. Well, I mean, everything is pointing in that direction. Then that Purdy would be the play in that situation, I suppose. For the Lions, you got Montgomery, you got Gibbs, and then you got Amon-Ra St. Brown, and you got Laporta. Are you feeling safer about playing Laporta now with the, time off from the knee injury?
Yes.
You playing him over Andrews?
Yeah.
You playing him over Kelsey?
No, I think it's a coin toss on which one's going to have, because the Mahomes to win that game is going to have to use Kelsey. It's going to have to be, those two guys. As much as I choose Rice over Kelsey,
right?
Kelsey's still going to be involved.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is, I would probably choose Kelsey just because it's Kelsey, Rice, and nobody else receiving wise. And on the Lions, they have the Amon Ra, they have Laporta, they have Gibbs to work in, they have Montgomery to work in.
Josh Reynolds.
They have Josh. Well, listen, he's gonna get the ball.
He'll get targets. John, who do you like, Laporta or Andrews?
I like Andrews.
Laporta or Kelsey?
I'll take Kelsey.
Andrews or Kelsey?
I'll take Kelsey.
Ooh, what about you?
I would probably
rank them 1 to 3. Yeah, sorry.
Kelsey, Laporta, Andrews.
You're with me.
Kelsey, Laporta, Andrews. I just not to take away from Andrews. I just feel like where he slots in that offense as it's currently constructed, coming off the injury, I just don't expect him to like come off the injury out of nowhere and put up like 120 and 2 or something.
Right.
Like I just don't necessarily see him having that kind of a first game back type thing. I could see him maybe in the Super Bowl being back to his old self, having 2 more weeks of rest.
Right.
But I don't know.
I'll bet on him next week.
Sure. Well, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Gibbs, Montgomery.
Gibbs.
Gibbs on? Gibbs and Montgomery.
Gibbs.
Because of the passing.
Roger that. Let's say for the sake of argument, you can't play Gibbs because you've burned him.
So then what?
So just Gibbs or just Montgomery. Who would you play? I'm just kidding.
All right, Montgomery, Pacheco.
Well, in this situation, I'm playing Montgomery and Pacheco.
No. If you just start one player in a sense, like you can only choose one of the two, which one as a flex?
Well, here's the thing. We'll get to that in a second. That's a good question, and I want to table it, and we'll circle back around to it because I want to add in another player into the mix.
Right. Like it.
San Francisco. We talked about Brock Purdy having some upside. We obviously Christian McCaffrey, okay, and then we have Ayuk and Debo, and we have Kittle.
Debo in question, yeah.
Debo may or may not play. If Debo doesn't play, on one hand, I think it makes Ayuk an amazing play, but I also think that makes Kittle a really great play as well. Where does Kittle crack the lineup of tight ends for you this week, John?
Yeah, I would say that Kittle definitely hits it, but I'm more of an Ayuk guy. I think that the 49ers need to exploit the Lions secondary. It's trash. It's straight trash. Like, I have to give it to the Lions defensive coordinator. They have a great pass rush, but the secondary is just they're not really that talented. They're young. So I'm going to go with Ayuk, and I will insert Kittle as well because that secondary is just not good.
Where does Kittle get mentioned in there among the tight ends? Or are you still pretty much, the Kelsey, Laporta? Where does Kittle fall in that hierarchy?
He joins the rankings with them in conversation if Debo's out.
Yeah, see, I think it makes a big difference if Debo's out. If Debo's out, he might be the number 1 tight end. I might play him over Kelsey in this situation.
But then the conversation becomes is if you're in the playoff situation, you're pretty much then playing Ayuk and Kittle
and Christian McCaffrey. Yeah,
because you burned him.
Well, you can't because you only played 1 game. Gotcha.
If you can't use him.
If you can't use McCaffrey.
Well, no. So
if you can't use McCaffrey, then you're playing Pacheco and Montgomery. You're playing both of those guys because he was coming back around to that question. If you are locking in McCaffrey and you can only play one other running back, then you have to make a decision between a Montgomery and a Pacheco
or a Gibbs.
If you can still play Gibbs, then it's just Gibbs. I think you play Gibbs over Pacheco or Montgomery, don't you, John? John, do you play Gibbs over Pacheco and or Montgomery?
I would.
Yeah, because I think that's the case. Now, John, if you're in a situation where CMC is locked in as one of your running backs and you have to choose between Pacheco and Montgomery, who are you playing in your RB2? I know my answer.
I'm going to go with Montgomery.
Anthony?
Pacheco.
I would go Pacheco also. I think Pacheco is going to get the work. I alluded to it a little bit earlier with the way that City could potentially
Right.
win this game.
Well, luckily for me, for the playoff game
And he's
that,
got no competition.
that we are in, where you're adjusting.
Yeah.
The first week of it, I played it as it. I think I might have. I don't know if I said it on the show, but I definitely told you.
You played it like you can only play one player from each team.
Right. And that week I played on Ra.
So you have a Gibbs
I have
to play.
Gibbs to play this week.
So you're going to play CMC and Gibbs.
Correct.
And then once you get to the championship game, you're not going to be able to play either one of those guys.
I got Laporta and I got Josh Reynolds.
See, that's that David Montgomery jumps right back into the conversation at that point.
yeah. Tom,
You know, but
right now you got to get there.
Because you do have to get there. And then the other thing is, what running back on the Ravens do you play?
Hill.
Same. You have to go with Hill.
Because he gets the catches and he's got the.
They don't really like Gus Edwards. Like doesn't really,
He's had some.
Gus Edwards
games.
could have 3 touchdowns in a game any
Yeah.
given time. He could end up falling into the end zone.
He's for sure, but
He's the
lean
David
Hill.
Montgomery on that team.
I would, in the same reason why you lean Gibbs, I lean Hill because of the explosiveness and the PPR points.
Yeah,
You got you got a nice PPR.
I don't know that Montgomery. I think Montgomery is more of a Edwards than Gibbs is a Hill.
Oh, 100%.
But I get what you're saying. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Here, I got it right here. Bang. Last week. Besides Lamar Jackson's 11 rushes, it was Hill 13 for 66. He's got a 5.1 average, and then Gus Edwards was 10 for 40. And then don't forget Dalvin.
So
Cook
he ran for 4 yards a carry, which is very good.
Yeah, and Hill was 5, and then Cook got 8 touches. So if they just didn't do that, and then gave it more to the guys who.
How many catches did Hill have?
Hill was 2 for 2 for two attempts, 2 catches for 11 yards.
See, I don't know that his
Gus Edwards two attempts.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I don't know that. I feel like the pass catching for Hill is a little bit of a false narrative. I don't know that he catches that many passes. I don't know that because Lamar doesn't dump down that much. He just runs, you know. So, we'll see. So now, if you were building a lineup from this 4-team, and again, this is just straight up. This is not for the game that we're playing, but just straight up for this week. From this slate, Chiefs, Ravens, 49ers. Who's your quarterback, Anthony?
Lamar.
John, who's your quarterback?
I'm gonna go with Lamar as well.
I guess it's hard not to take Lamar. I guess it's hard not
He's going
to
to
take
rush
Lamar.
for 100 yards again.
If you weren't going to, he's not going to rush for 100 yards again. He'll probably rush for he could probably rush for 60, 70, 80 yards, but rushing for 100 yards, it's not that easy to do. But
he's done it 3 out of his 5 playoff games.
I got to believe that that's going to be a point of emphasis for the defense to contain Lamar Jackson. I don't know.
Assumingly.
I presume, but we'll see. We'll see. I can't bet. I'm not.
Oh, Luis? We have a Luis sighting.
Oh my God.
Lamar's going to run a lot. Hey,
Is that
Luis.
a positive statement?
No, it's a negative statement. He says he's a good pocket passer. He's only going to run. So, we'll see. I think that, Lamar's passing is extremely underrated. Luis, we talked about it a little earlier about how there's no valid reasons to think that Lamar Jackson is a bad quarterback.
16 for
Except the color of
22
his
and
skin.
152 yards. It's pretty good.
What?
22 attempts, 16 completions.
That's 6 incompletions.
Yeah, for 152 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, 152 and 2. That's not good because it's only 152 yards.
Yeah, but
Because that's all he needed.
right. Because he threw for 2 and rushed for 2. That's not good.
Right. Four total touchdowns is bad.
By that guy.
Yeah. 250 yards and 4 touchdowns. We don't want that. But okay, so if you're starting 2 running backs, John, from this 4-team slate, who are you starting?
Like 2 running backs out of this one. Oof. Obviously, you're going to do McCaffrey.
Yeah.
I'll do
Anthony. He picked McCaffrey. Who would you pick?
McCaffrey.
No. He already took McCaffrey.
Oh, Gibbs.
Okay, John, he has Gibbs. You have McCaffrey. Who are you picking for your second running back?
I'm gonna go with Montgomery.
Pacheco.
Okay, so you got Gibbs and Pacheco. You got Montgomery and CMC. Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, I mean, those are the 4 top backs, I guess. I think you'd have to really be a gambler to play a Ravens running back in this round. John, who are your top 3 receivers in this round? 1, 2, 3.
Top 3 receivers. Number 1 would be Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'll take him.
Okay.
I'll take Zay Flowers, and then next I'm gonna take Brandon Ayuk, and then 4th honorable mention would be Rashid Rice.
Anthony, any changes there?
If that was his order, yes.
What's your change?
Amon-Ra was first.
Yeah.
Yeah, so keep that the same. I have Ayuk second.
Okay.
And then Rice third.
Rice third. So Zay Flowers would be your 4th. Bumps all the way down. Huh? Interesting. John, you can only start 1 tight end on this slate. I think we talked about it already, but who's your guy?
I'm gonna go with Travis Kelce.
Anthony?
Kelsey.
Even with Debo out, nobody wants Kittle.
If Debo's out?
If Debo's out. Well, if Debo wasn't out, you guys somebody would have picked him as one of their receivers, wouldn't you think? I think we're all pretty much assuming that Debo's going to be out for this game. Out or very limited. Which is why I think both of you guys, I assumed that's why both of you guys ranked Ayuk and not Debo at all. No. I mean,
I think Rice is going to have a good game.
Yeah, Rice will be fine. Rice will be good. I mean, again, I think Rice has a chance if they line him up in all different places and Snead doesn't follow him around. I'm sorry, no, I'm talking about the wrong team. Never mind. Flowers is that guy who I was referring to, but I bet you that Snead will probably line up on Bateman a lot, which I think Flowers could end up running wild on that team. And then John, what defense would you play on this slate?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Man, that is a really, really tough one.
That's a tough one because you're like, all 4 of these teams are going to score points, so I don't want any of these defenses.
If I would have to bet on one, and this is more of my heart, I'm going to go with Kansas City's defense.
That lines up with your pick. You know, if they're going to win it, they're going to have to do something defensively. You know, like Luis's dreams will have to come true, and Lamar will have to throw 2 picks. You know, and it'll just the Chiefs, maybe they score a touchdown on one of them, or Lamar fumbles running around in the pocket, scrambling around, something like that. What defense do you play? Ravens. Okay, so the very opposite. You think the Ravens are going to shut them down?
It would be Ravens-Niners as my choice between 2 of them.
Okay.
But then you're like, all right, the over-under's less in this game.
Stay on the microphone.
And
you keep talking around it for something, but you got to talk into it. You're like talking like.
I think Mahomes has thrown like a fair amount of interceptions this year. That's my rating.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Now, one thing I want to go back to, because you said that you're laying the points with the Ravens in this game. How much do you think the Ravens are actually going to win by?
A touchdown.
So full touchdown. So, okay. All right. So you think it'll be something of a decisive win?
I think it's going to be a good game.
Yeah.
Battled out. And each team's scoring, and they're the last ones to score.
Fair enough. Hey, John, what did you think of the news of Jim Harbaugh going to the Chargers?
Excellent pick. Just good with the media. A proven winner, been to a Super Bowl before, just won a national championship. This franchise needs a rejuvenation. They need a head coach that has experience. Justin Herbert is still in his prime. I know that they have a ton of salary cap issues to address, but I think Jim Harbaugh keeps this team competitive. Obviously, they're going to probably try to get a little bit younger. It looks like they were heading in that direction last year with drafting some guys, but some of the guys such as Khalil Mack, a lot of the overhauls that they've done, Keenan Allen, that's been a veteran there forever. What are they going to do with Austin Eckler? I think Harbaugh figures out the way to get the best out of Justin Herbert, get a defensive-minded coach to get that defense right, and I think that this team is heading in the right direction with the right coach.
I asked you first because you've always been a big San Diego Superchargers fan. What about you, Anthony? Anything you want to throw in on that? Harbaugh is going to fix that defense. Harbaugh is going to fix that defense. Anything?
Happy that my boys got a good coach, and I want to see what they're going to do because they have the 5th overall pick in the draft, and that's going to be huge. And depending on what they go with,
Brock Bowers.
That's what I keep seeing, the tight end, and I would love that. That gives Herbert another weapon. How long is Allen going to be elite? I think he has one more year being that, and then starting to die
you
down.
can see I could see you could convince me that he'll have a season like Diggs did this season, where the first half of the season he was good and the second half of the season he was just a non-factor at all. He just like falls off a cliff and that's it for him. Now, that's not to say that Diggs can't bounce back, because Diggs is a little younger, but it's just that like he might have just hit the wall. You know what I mean? It's possible.
But he just had too good of a year this year to not think that he still got
Yeah,
it.
I agree. I think that he'll come back. I mean, he's one of the staples in that offense between him and like if they draft Brock Bowers, that's a really nice 1-2 punch right there. And then you can bring
Mike
other
Williams,
players in.
you still have,
Mike Williams is always injured. I think at some point you got to just move on from him.
and then you got to figure out Quentin Johnson.
Do you though? He's the kind of guy.
Know about that.
I could see Harbaugh being like, "Yeah, draft this guy, get him out of here." Yeah, he's not good. We'll see. I mean, either he whips him into shape. Well, you'll know if QB is any good, because if Harbaugh gets rid of him, he's not any good. Period.
Because Harbaugh gets the best out of any. He's been known to get the best out of his players. I know he's been out of the NFL for a long time, but what he did in Michigan was amazing. Getting the best of the best. I mean, there's a lot of defensive players and guys that are in NFL that, Harbaugh brought the best of them. The guy Jabril Peppers that was on the Giants before, great player as an example.
Yeah, no, he's had some great teams, some great defenses. He's gonna do a good job there. I'm
super excited, but before we go too far, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I had 3 things.
The parlay, the props. Go ahead. Sorry.
So, I have my boy Sam Laporta. His yardage 48.5. So I got the over on that.
I like it.
Jahmyr Gibbs receiving yards 22.5.
Ooh, I like it, John.
I like that.
Do you like the Sam Laporta over 48.5, or are you under on that?
No, I'm fine with that.
Okay. And then number 3, this one might be
well, if you're
this is
saying
the one that Anthony this is the jellies one.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll see.
This is where I'm going to go to Dunkin' Donuts right now.
Yep, and get a jelly.
Josh Reynolds.
Okay.
Over.
Go ahead.
34.5.
Ooh, no. I don't know. Where do you have last game? Yeah, that one I don't like. I don't like that one.
Anthony, pick another guy.
If it was like low 20s, then I would say okay.
Do like Kittle or something. Like Anthony, you could have picked any other player.
Stand by.
He's got to have one gross one in there. There's always got.
What was the number?
It was 30
Anthony,
something.
Just pick somebody that's not Josh Reynolds.
It was 34.5. He had shit.
What did he have? 12.
No, 3 targets.
Oh God, 3. That's not
227 and a touchdown.
no.
All right,
No,
so wait,
Anthony.
I take this off. Wait a minute, I take this off, and I take this off.
Yep.
And now I have those 4 picks.
4-pick parlay. Can you do it?
Is a plus 1083.
Okay, go for it.
Not bad.
Uh,
By the way, there's a little
Because
beef
you would
going
put
on
like
here.
2 or 3 units on each one individually anyway, probably, right? So just drop
So that
10 units.
10 pays out 118.
That's a pretty nice little. Now that's a bet. John, is that a bet or is that a bet?
That's a great bet, Anthony. You're just what these
I
jelly
don't know
got
what
there.
this. I don't know
You
what
got
this
there,
is.
dude. Look at that.
Anthony,
You
how
how
got
do
do
you
you
go to
guys
the donut
do
shop and just one day get you all jelly donuts, and for every time you
Yes.
make a jelly call, you have to eat the whole. You have to eat a donut.
That would be so funny.
That will be
Get
a
a
deal.
box of 12 on a football Sunday morning,
Oh my god, I die by
and
I die.
one of those big box of Joes, and then
Yeah, and
every bet,
and you
every
coffee.
time you say something, oh, this guy's gonna do something, we're like, eat a donut.
Oh my, if I get it right or wrong, if I get it wrong.
Oh yeah,
No,
that would
every
be good.
time you do a jelly
Like,
call.
oh my god. If
Or
I,
how about this, John? If he gets it wrong, we get to eat the donut. If he gets it right, he gets to eat the donut.
it should be the other way around, no?
No, if you get it right, you get to eat the donut. But if you get it wrong, we get to eat the donut right in your face.
Okay.
Right, John?
Oh my god,
What
one
kind
Sunday.
of jelly do you like,
What-
Anthony? I just want to know what kind of donuts we're
When you make a
eating.
PB&J sandwich, what kind of jelly do you use?
Welch's.
No, but I mean grape or strawberry or what?
Grape.
Strawberry,
A lot of good jellies.
I'm an old fashioned guy.
apricot,
No, if
Yeah.
I want to spice it up,
Preserves.
raspberry preserves.
Okay.
raspberry. Okay, so raspberry preserved donuts is what Anthony is eating
Ooh.
Yo, so there you go.
with the
Well, you
little
probably-
powder on them.
There you go. You can't
Ugh.
probably get those anywhere, but maybe.
John's
Have
gonna
you ever tried? This is going to sound gross, but it's actually great. Grilled cheese sandwich, and then you take some strawberry jelly and you smear on a little strawberry jelly.
That's actually not that bad, actually.
A grilled cheese sandwich with strawberry jelly on it. It's awesome, amazing. You would never get. You would never guess, but it's good.
Anthony, we got to do this jelly thing one day.
Bro, you know me.
The jelly
I'll
challenge.
I'll try it.
Yep.
I'll give anything a shot. Well, settle down.
Yeah. Maybe.
Anthony,
maybe
you might
take
shoot
it.
yourself with how many donuts you're gonna eat.
Well,
By the
you
way,
get-
Get them all.
The thing is, if he gets it right, he has to eat a donut. He's not going to be eating that many donuts. We're going to eat all the
no.
donuts.
John, write it down. Notation. Sunday next season.
Jelly donut challenge.
I'm gonna make a bunch of just like I did, like player prop picks for the 1:00 games.
You have to make a dozen picks.
Oh my god, deal.
A dozen picks for a
If I
dozen
get them
donuts.
right, what if I get them all right? I'll be dead by halftime.
If you get them all right, you have to eat a dozen donuts.
Anthony,
Yeah,
I
right
think
there
you
on the
hate us
spot.
enough to get all 12 wrong.
Ooh, no, I want to.
I love donuts. That would not be a punishment for me because I would only have to eat a
6.
maximum of 6 donuts. Yeah.
No, I mean me. I would choose winning a gambling bet over making you guys eat a dozen donuts each.
Yeah, he wants to win. He wants the dub. He wants
Dude,
to eat. He doesn't want to eat the donut. He wants to eat the dub.
I want the endorphins, bro.
By the way, Bobby's been taking digs at Luis in the chat. By the way,
I've no points, and may God have mercy on his soul. And then he says Lamar will play great just so he can see Chuckle Nuts go down in flames. Yeah, we talked about that earlier, Bobby. It's the opposite of Luis' strategy. Whatever Luis picks, just pick the opposite. Good money. Good money. Yeah, buddy.
I mean,
Right?
he's saying that he's going to draft
What'd you say?
CMC next year. He's going to draft CMC next year, and that's like the only player that is going to be good on this team.
Well, yeah, I don't know. That's the thing. I think that him drafting CMC first overall just protects all the rest of us from CMC. You know what I mean? It diffuses CMC because at
Like
the
Hill was this year.
you're gonna look across your lineup and you're gonna see Christian McCaffrey against you, and you're like, well, I'm losing that ahead. But then like down your roster a little bit, like when you get to the 2 flexes, and your 2 flexes are like legitimate players, and his 2 flexes are like Boston Scott and
And then Gainwell.
like, Isaiah
And
Crowell.
John Michie.
Oh my God,
John Michie.
Mercedes Lewis.
Yeah, he's playing Kenny Gainwell and Boston Scott in both his flexes. And then, so then Christian McCaffrey don't look so bad at that point. So yeah, I'm not scared. I ain't scared. You guys have Vic Fangio to the Eagles, most likely.
As the defensive coordinator, yep.
Yeah, so he was the defensive coordinator of the Miami Dolphins, and he's obviously one of the best defensive coordinators, widely accepted to be one of the best defensive coordinators in the NFL. They mutually agreed to part ways. Turns out he's from the Philly area. His family lives in Philadelphia, and he was with the Eagles staff before last year, and he ended up going with the Dolphins, and now that the Eagles have an opening, the Dolphins are like, yeah, you can go do your thing. And so he's essentially expected to sign with the Eagles and be the Eagles defensive coordinator. So just like that, Sirianni keeps his job, and he brings in arguably the best, if not one of the best defensive coordinators available possible in the NFL alive today as his defensive coordinator to turn around and fix that thing. I think
that's happy about it.
That's huge for the Eagles. I mean, it's good for Vic Fangio. I'm glad for him to be able to be, in a situation that he's happy with. He's close to home and all that other good stuff. But as far as like something that the Eagles needed was a defensive coordinator who knew what the fuck they were doing and can get the most out of those players because the talent is there. Vic Fangio is going to come in. He's going to straighten that shit out post haste. And I think you can expect the defense for the Eagles to be much better next year. Jalen Carter's next year. I think that was a really good move by them. John, what do you got on Vic Fangio? Anything?
Yeah, he was actually the highest paid defensive coordinator this past year. Obviously, the Dolphins had a ton of injuries, and simply the defense. Once guys go down, it's hard to run your defense the way you want it to be. They
Especially
dealt with secondary.
with the guys.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They had a ton of injuries. I think him going down to Philly with a young core of guys, especially with all the amount of veterans that are expected to retire for the Philadelphia Eagles, such as Fletcher Cox is expected to retire.
He's Graham maybe.
Yep, Graham might be retired. A lot of veteran guys that are beloved in Philly. That locker room needs some veteran leadership and coaching, and what better way to get a veteran guy in there, straighten out the defense, and give the Giants and the Cowboys a run for their money.
Yeah, I think that's a huge get for them. I'm interested to see who they get to run the offense. But you're an Eagles fan, you had to go from being like feeling like, oh my God, we're in real big trouble right now, to being like, okay, I feel good. Like that news, and obviously when it comes out, when that news is official, like Vic Fangio signs with the Eagles, that you're going to hear a whole bunch of people in Philadelphia breathe a collective sigh of relief. They're going to be like, okay, all right, we got a professional in the building. You know what I mean? For as little faith as they have in Nick Sirianni right now, they can just be like, well, hey, we got Vic Fangio. He's going to run defense. Stay out, right? Nick, don't even come in the room. I'll talk to you on Sunday. Stay out of here. And that'll be A-okay for the Eagles, I think. That's probably one of the best things. Brian Callahan to the Tennessee Titans. Who saw that one coming? Johnny?
I did not.
No?
I actually thought Callahan was going to go to Carolina.
Interesting. Yeah, he wasn't even a name that I thought was like gonna be an early hire, let alone a hire at all. Like he wasn't even on my radar screen this year. I mean, he's been in Cincinnati for a long time. He's the former offensive coordinator for Cincinnati Bengals. He's now going to be the head coach of the Titans. There's some talk that he might bring his dad back to coach the offensive line, Bill Callahan. Bill Callahan.
Wow, I remember
I don't know
him.
if that's true or not, right? But Big Tom Callahan. I don't know if that's true or not, or if it's just a rumor, but that would be great if he did, bring his dad, his like legendary dad, back as an offensive coordinator or offensive line coach.
Situation. It's a great coaching situation for them. I think it's a great. I really thought that he was going to get the short end of the stick and end up taking the Carolina position. That's what I thought was going to happen for him, and I thought that that was going to be a pretty crappy situation. But glad he landed in Tennessee and he gets an opportunity to work with a Will Levis, and that team's got talent on there. So I'm
Yeah,
interested in
he's been
how he
working with
does.
he's been working with Joe Burrow for a couple of years. Maybe, and then Browning came in and played well, so I would say that's a feather in his cap. So for him to be able to go down there, like you said, and with Levis, that seems to be pretty exciting.
Levis had some little bit of excitement.
I still think Vrabel ends up in the Carolina, and I don't know why. I don't know why I think that. It just seems like that's what's going to happen.
I think Belichick, Atlanta.
Yeah, so far he's been on 2 interviews there. There's been a couple people who have been on 2. Bobby Slowick has been in multiple places. But who else? Is there anybody else who's been hired that we haven't talked about? No. Gerard Mayo. I think we might have mentioned him the last time. He's just stepped right in. That should be interesting.
I think he's going to be a great head coach. Great hire. Belichick set him up. I think that the Patriot way is the Belichick Brady years. They're done, but I think they're in good hands with Gerard Mayo, where they're going to be known for their defense. But again, what is it to say about this offense? And maybe it breathes new life and different coaching strategy, and we'll see. Excited for his opportunity, obviously.
Who do you think ends up in Washington, John?
Wow. Honestly, I have Bieniemy taking over head coach.
Oh, you know what? I think we talked about this last week. I think that the all the headlines are pointing towards Ben Johnson from the Detroit Lions, the offensive coordinator from the Lions. That seems like the rumors are. I shouldn't say headlines, but like the rumors are just like the rumors of Belichick to Atlanta. The rumors are Ben Johnson to the Washington. Now, here's the big question. I'll go to Anthony first, and then you, John. What, Bobby J, or if Luis is still watching, you guys can answer this one in the chat too. This is a crowd participation. What do you think? And then what do you think will be the name of the Washington football team next year? Because it's not going to be the Commanders.
I'm gonna go.
Didn't we came up with names like
we did. We discussed it. John, go ahead.
I'll go with what I would like to see is I would like them to switch from the Washington Commanders to the Washington Generals. I think that the name would be, I don't know, just a little bit better. Something that I got obviously it's in the state capital, whatever. But what
Wouldn't you like
think
it
is going to
more specific?
Like the Redskins?
No, just more specific than Generals.
Like, I don't know,
like more specific, more specific than that. Like I wouldn't want a broad name like General. I would be like the Washington Specifics or the Washington Exactlies. The Exactlies. The
lieutenants.
So you said Generals. Bobby J wrote Senators. So what do you think it's going to be? If that's what you would like it to be, is there a name that you think that's more likely for it to be?
I think it stays as the Commanders.
Oh, interesting. What about you, Anthony? What do you got?
I mean,
I have a strong opinion on this.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
What's your strong opinion?
My opinion is that I think. Well, I have two. I think that it would be fun if they went back to the Washington football team. That would be great. I think that would be fucking hilarious. That would be so funny. But I think that it should be the Red Hogs. The Red Hogs. Yeah, because it's the closest thing they could possibly do to keep the the original name, which is the Redskins, and pay tribute to the glory days of the franchise, which is the Hogs. They had this great offensive line, and they called the Hogs, and there's guys that to this day started dressing up in the stands in dresses with like pig noses on and pig ears and stuff like that, and they would dress up like pigs, like the Hogs, and there was a group of fans in the stadium in a certain section that I think they were called like the Lady Hogs or something like that. And it was a bunch of dudes in dresses that were like the wives of the offensive line or something like that, and they were just hogs. So like the hogs were something that was a big deal. Yeah, homage to the teams from the 80s. Exactly. It was a big deal in the franchise history. You know, it's like if the Giants ever were disgraced or something, if actual Giants existed and they were like, you can't call us that, it's demeaning, and they changed it to Big Blue because it's just something that's within the franchise. It's not as good an example, but you get what I'm saying.
Or like
actually the helmet,
sort of, or the Purple People Eaters, if it was Minnesota, or the Orange Crush for Denver,
or the Cheeseheads.
The Cheeseheads, yes, exactly. It would be like that. But the Red Hogs, I think, would be the best name for the Washington football.
Oh yeah, because it couldn't be Wild Hogs because they made that movie.
Well, that's that's totally off the base. But I think Red Hogs because they could keep the same.
I think that I root for Red Hogs.
You could have like
Red Hogs.
A cool hog, a cool like warthog type looking picture, or you could have a cartoony hog. They have Tuddy is their mascot, and it's pig. It's a hog, and his name is Tuddy. So I mean, yeah, I think that would be perfect.
I think we should start.
Why don't you do whoever go for it, Bobby? They talked. It was one of the names that they talked about before they chose Commanders when it was the Washington football team, and they were like bandying about different names. That was one of the names that came up, and I think a lot of people, I think it caught a lot of steam. So that's my guess. That's what I want.
I would like.
You know,
but I don't think that they're going to do. I don't think they're going to do anything with like military though. I don't think they're going to do generals or senators or anything like that. I think that was the mistake that they made with Commanders, and the uniforms look like military uniforms. That's not a good. Like nobody wants to be associated with the government. You know what I mean? Like that's not a good thing. It didn't work. It didn't work for them. Like the Commanders is a mistake. That was a bad call by them. I think generals and senators is right in that same vein, where I think they want to get away from the government, military. Like the fact that they're in Washington D.C. is great, but I don't think that the best move is being like, "Hey, look at us! Like we're like military." You know, that's I don't think that's a good look for them. I think that in my mind, they would want to get away from that. So there's a less likelihood for senators or generals or specifics or anything like that.
I don't see them changing their name for another about maybe a year or two. I do see it.
But also, my counterpoint to that is that you've never seen in all since Harris bought the team, he never wore a piece of Commanders gear. Never, and he never wore anything that said Commanders on it, like conspicuously. Like he would wear the Washington W logo, and in different styles, not just the Commanders style, and he would wear the colors, but he would never wear Commanders gear. Nothing that said Commanders on it. So to me thinks that he doesn't want that name at all, and because like the Commanders is Daniel Snyder, and they want to flush the toilet as quickly as possible. So I don't know. I agree with you, John, that it's one of those things that it's like it could take a long time to get done.
Yeah, but flush out all the inventory.
If I was the owner, I would want to get it done now, like as soon as the new league. Like file the paperwork as soon as the new league year starts. You know what I mean? Be like, look, and if they can't come up with a name, they go back to the football team. Or they say, as soon as the league year starts, they say, we're going to hold a fan vote and we're going to submit a new name by X number of times.
We're going to be the Washington Red Team.
Washington. Well, that doesn't really sound good either, though, because that has
government. I'm saying, like, remember how you choose colors as a kid?
No, I get it, but that has political.
The franchise needs a new. It's a franchise that's won a Super Bowl. They've
multiple Super Bowls. That's 3.
Yeah, they won 3 Super Bowls. And unfortunately also you also have to understand that like this team was talented and had good teams that made it to the playoffs. I just think ownership and the culture. I mean, it's a little bit beyond football. What the Commanders is. They need to change the culture in that place. People did not like to go to work there.
and it's
top
a
to
shitty
bottom.
stadium too. Literally, the stadium is falling apart and it leaks sewage on people and stuff. Like it's a shitty facility. It's just like a bad. I went to their training camp a bunch of years ago, if you remember that. It was okay. I didn't know any better. I still don't like. I wouldn't be able to tell you, oh, this training camp is better than that. You're outside the whole time. It's just like high school stands and stuff. But I know that their stadium has like parts of it fall off. That one time where Jalen Hurts was walking past the fans and they all fell off because the railing broke off and all the fans fell out of the stands on top of him. They have, like I said, the pipes overflow and like sewage will flow out onto the fucking people during the games.
That's awesome.
It's crazy. Yeah, 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks. Okay, can anybody name any of the quarterbacks that won with the Super Bowls with the Redskins?
Doug
John
Williams. That's all I know.
Doug Williams is one of them. He's the first black quarterback
Joe
to ever win.
Theismann. Joe Theismann.
Joe Theismann is another one. Who's the third one?
By the way, Joe Theismann is from South River, New Jersey. Shout out.
Who's the third one?
Was it recent? No.
It was the most recent of the 3.
Wasn't
It was Theismann first.
Not Jason Campbell.
No. Then it was Doug Williams, and then it was the guy who was, he played with the Hogs and all that. 1986 or 85.
Not Trent Dilfer.
Or 87. Theismann is
Rippin.
Mark Rippin. Brett Rippin, who started for whoever this year for like one game or whatever. That's his son or whatever, or maybe it was his grandson or like nephew or something like that. But because Mark Rippin played a while ago, yeah. But yeah, Mark Rippin. I want to say he won the year right before or right after the Giants won it. So it had to be 87 because it went Bears 85, Giants 86, Redskins 87. So I want to say that's when Mark Rippin won his. But yeah, 3 different quarterbacks, but it was all the same head coach. You know who the head coach was? John?
No idea. That I have no idea.
Oh, it was 1990. I was wrong about that. So who won it in 87?
I think the Giants did.
87, I thought it was the 49ers.
Oh, okay. So 91 was Joe Gibbs. Joe Gibbs was the coach. Bobby knows him. But I guess it was 90, and then the Giants won it in 91. Okay, so I knew it was like right before the Giants.
Giants won
right around the Giants.
They have 4 wins. Each 2 were 4 years apart.
Yeah, about that. And then how far apart is it in the middle of the 2? That's what you got to know, because that means that's 4. How many. No, it's 4 years apart. They won it, and then 4 years later they won it again.
Right.
And then a period of time.
16 years.
16. That's what I was asking. So it's 60. You have to count 16 years from the last Super Bowl. That's when they're going to win their next one. You know when that is?
2011. So 2027 coming up.
Wow, right around the corner. Good for you. Good for you. They just got to get through this Daniel Jones contract.
And their next quarterback, they'll get a receiver. Will be fine.
So there you go. I think that's all we got to cover this week. And so here's what we're going to do.
We missed one more news is the GM that got hired for the Raiders, the former GM for the Los Angeles Chargers, Telesco. So he's inheriting Antonio Pierce. Telesco was credited for giving the Chargers all the talent that Brandon Staley needed to win. And unfortunately, Anthony, your boy, all right?
Yep.
Your boy.
Can I ask you a question, John? John, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Because I honestly don't know the answer to this question. How did Brandon Staley and I ever become what you described this to be?
Anthony, you trusted the Chargers offense so much. I mean, you invested so much into this
is
offense.
Big talk coming from the guy who invested in the Bears offense this year.
Yeah, I'm telling you, because I'm not a believer in the Bears offense no more. I gave up. But Anthony, you
held
on.
They're going to have a new offense.
I held on to Justin Herbert and That's it. And Keenan Allen, my boy. I knew who to stay away from. Okay.
Yeah, well, here's my question, John, to you: is that how sad are you now that you can't roast Anthony about the Chargers anymore?
I can't.
This is true.
I can.
I mean, this is it. This is the last time. So this is your last hurrah because they have a very good head coach, one of the better ones, presumably in the NFL, top half at least. Just right off the rip, before he even does anything, we know Jim Harbaugh is that guy. Anthony could go right back in. He could be a heavier Chargers fan now than he's ever been before in his life.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just talking about in the past. Now, this is the last time. But I will say about Telesco. But what I will say about Telesco is I do think that he will do a great job of putting talent into the Raiders and that organization, and put Antonio Pierce in the best position to to win over there. I'm really excited to see what the Raiders do.
You're putting it all on Brandon Staley then. So you think that, because to me, when I saw that hire, it kind of confused me a little bit, because I was like, this guy was just in their division for what, the last 5 years? He was their GM, or 10 years, something like that. He was there for a while, and he just got fired. And then they just hired him across the division. That reminded me way too much of the Adam Gase thing. And I was like, whoa, what the hell is happening here? But you have a little bit more faith in him. I don't know the guy. I'm not familiar with his game. But I will say that the move, it felt weird to me. But again, that it just reeked of the Adam Gase thing, where it's like you just saw this guy not win for years straight across the division from you. And the first thing you do when he gets fired is hire him. So to me, I'm like, okay, I got one eyebrow up on that one,
Little rock action.
Yeah, I'm just not so sure. But we'll see. Like you said, John, he did have some good hits in the draft, and he did some good things. He built a good roster. I don't know that it's a great roster, but I think that what we'll also find out again is once Harbaugh has been up and through that roster, we'll see, what kind of a roster it really was. If he hangs on, if he comes around and wins with those guys with the same roster next year, then yeah, we can. The two things we'll know are true is that Staley was that bad, and that Telesco did do a good job, in fact. But I think those two things remain to be seen. It's just such a weird move, especially. But again, I guess just because of the Gase thing, I was like super sensitive to that. So when I saw it, I was like, "What? What are they doing?"
Also, longtime defensive coordinator Joe Barry of the Green Bay Packers was also fired.
Yeah, they needed to do that. But the Packers GM seems good. The head coach seems good. The roster seems good. So if they can get somebody in there who can run that defense for them, they'll be in really good shape. Bobby J says, who's going to be the quarterback in Vegas next year? I don't know the answer to that question. I feel like he's probably not on the roster. You know
Justin Fields.
Russell Wilson. That's going to be my answer. Russ. John, who do you think is going to be the quarterback in Vegas next year?
Well, I think it's going to be I think it's going to be a guy that's either drafted or it's going to be a guy that they trade for. Either or. If you want my bet on it, it will most likely be via trade. And I think that Telesco and the hire, and why I like it so much, is I do think that the Chargers are aggressive and trade for Justin Fields.
You mean the Raiders?
I mean, the Raiders. Yeah, the Raiders are aggressive and they trade for Justin Fields.
Interesting. So you think that's where Fields ends up, huh?
I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it could happen. I could see that. I'm gonna stay with Russ though. I'll put my money on Russ because I bet you the plus is a lot better. I bet you get better price with Russ, better money.
I see the Raiders giving them like a second round pick and like a player.
Sure.
And getting Fields.
Sure, like maybe a defensive player or something. I don't know what it would take. I'm going to be so interested on that. And I guess we'll talk about this now just to close out the show, is like how we're going to handle
Jacoby Myers.
The rest of the look. Jacoby Myers was very good for the Raiders.
Right.
Very good.
Beef him up, sell
But
him.
the question then becomes: does Devontae Adams stay on the Raiders, or do the Jets trade for him? That's another big question. I mean, there's a lot of offseason moves
I'm
and magic that's going to happen. It's going to be
so
good.
excited.
So here's how we're going to handle this. This is our NFC NFC championship show.
Bobby agrees with you for the record.
Russ Raiders. Right, exactly. Landon Misfit Toys. Like that's the perfect place for Russ to go and just like go away to die. Right, like retire in Vegas. Like go play your last few seasons out there. You know, the Carson Palmer method. We're not going to do a show next week. We're going to take a week off. Even though the conference championship games will be played and we'll find out who's in the Super Bowl, we're not going to do a show immediately following the conference championships because we have a week in between where they play the Pro Bowl games and stuff like that. So we're going to wait and do it the following week. That way we can get a little bit closer to the Super Bowl. We'll still be able to talk about the teams that are in it, you know, the teams that won, but we'll at least be a little bit closer to the Super Bowl so that we have some more props to look at. So we have some more up-to-date numbers and betting lines and things like that, more up-to-date information. That way we're only a few days out from the Super Bowl versus a week and a half out from the Super Bowl with nothing to talk about. So we're going to take 1 week off next week, and we'll be back on for the following week to talk about the Super Bowl. And then we can talk at that point, we can figure out when we want to do our post-Super Bowl sort of season end show. And then we're going to take a little while off because the league year doesn't start until March 13th. So that would be the next time that really, like, a lot of things can happen. A lot of time, the next time that we might even think about just doing like a league year start show, find out, you know, coaching decisions that maybe haven't been made by the time we've done the Super Bowl show. Any players or things like that,
well,
we can pick
at the end of March, with there being 2 weeks into that time frame, there's something has to have happened.
Oh, a lot of stuff.
You
Yeah,
know what I mean? So you could talk a little bit about that, and then
the draft is in April.
Right, you could talk about potential, you know, rumors that are still to come, and then, you know, a few weeks later you can do a recap of anything else that's happened from the first to the second, and then a draft talk about.
The way I see it, if we start around the beginning of the league year, we do a show right around there. We wait 2 weeks. We do a pre-draft show. We wait 2 weeks. We do a post-draft, or we wait, you know, we wait 3 weeks. We do a pre-draft show. We wait 3 more weeks and we do a post-draft show.
Right. Yeah.
Something very simple like that, like a beginning of the league year, pre-draft, post-draft, and then we'll decide what we want to do in the time, how we want to parse out our summer in the days, in the months leading up to, or the weeks leading up to the draft, to get ready, pre-draft rankings, position by position, the whole 9 yards. But we're starting to wind down on this season of podcasts. Bobby would like to be on the show for the Super Bowl. It's cool. So the Super Bowl pre-show, Bobby, or the Super Bowl recap show, would you like to be on? You're welcome on either one. I'm just curious one, so I forget to invite you. But yeah, we're gonna take a week off. We'll be meeting in 2 weeks, where it's always Sunday. Both, please. So Bobby J, you are welcome on the pre-show and the post-show. Definitely. And depending on when we do it, maybe we'll get you here live in studio. How's that sound? It's Belmar. It's not too far away, and you could always ride up with me and or Danny Matt if you wanted to come up to the studio one time, because we all live relatively close to each other. So there you go. We'll be in touch.
Ooh, yeah.
What else you got, John? Anything good?
Man, I'm just ready to get some sleep, and got a weekend of doing a little bit of house projects and things of that sort. So fun times.
Oh, Mr. Fix It, maybe.
Nice.
Yeah.
Johnny Homemaker.
Yep.
Love it. All right, man. Well, we will let you go. Go to bed. We're getting off. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. Whenever you get a chance, just send me the money, and then just sell it whenever you get a chance.
Zell, you got it.
All right.